Hi everyone, it's Jessie and Chelsea from Yoga. Thank you for joining us today for this tutorial on the 26 traditional yin postures. Grab your mat and we'll get started. Easy seated pose or square. Start with the legs crossed, sitting up nice and tall through the spine, softening the shoulders away from the ears. Lengthen through the crown of the head, finding a long line of energy here. If this is uncomfortable, you can alternatively extend the legs out in front of you, popcorn through the knees, work to ground down through the four corners of the pelvis. Once again, lengthen through the spine, soften the shoulders away from the ears. If you're finding that this is still uncomfortable, you can use either a block or a blanket to help prop up the hips to help find comfort in this pose. Once again, you can cross the legs or keep them out in front of you. Close the eyes, lengthen through the spine, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Take a moment to just be, just breathe. Child's pose. Starting in hands and knees, tabletop pose. Take a wider stance with the knees, bring the toes together. Start to sink the hips back onto the heels, stretching the arms out long in front of you. Allow the forehead to reach down towards the mat. If the forehead reaches the mat, perhaps roll side to side, eyebrow to eyebrow. Opening up the sinuses, putting that little bit of pressure, that little bit of weight into the forehead. Come back through to center, land on your third eye. If this is uncomfortable, you can work to close the stance with the knees, bringing them slightly in. Continuing to extend the arms out in front of you. The spine is in flexion. If this isn't comfortable on the arms, feel free to wrap them around the sides. Allow them to comfortably fall. Palms face up towards the ceiling. Continue to breathe. Melting heart or puppy pose. Start in all fours, tabletop pose. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees hip distance apart. Actively press the ground away, puff up the space in between the shoulder blades. One by one, lower down onto the forearms. Elbows come underneath the shoulders. Take a moment to pause here, check in with the body. Continue to actively and energetically press the hips back towards the back of the mat. You can stay here, or should you wish, continue to extend the hands out towards the short edge of the mat, offering down the heart, the chest. Close the eyes. Take a few breaths. Toe squat and ankle stretch. Start in a kneeling position. Bring your hands to the mat so that you can hook all 10 toes. Softly begin to shift the hips, bring them to balance on the heels, lifting the knees off of the mat. Feel all the little muscles in your feet and your ankles working to keep you stable. You can keep the hands grounded on the mat, or if you wish, bring the hands to heart center. Big inhale as you press the palms together. Activate the upper body. Stretching out the bottoms of the feet. Coming in for a counter pose. Release the hands back down to the mat. Flip the tops of the feet onto the mat. Pressing into the palms. Inhale as you rise up onto the toes, stretching out the ankles. Continue to press the ground away. Puff up the space in between the shoulder blades. Take one more big in-breath. Exhale, softly lower the knees back down to the ground. Camel. Start standing on the knees, hips stacked over knees, shoulders over hips. Bring your hands to your low back as if you were putting your hands into jean pockets. Use the palms of the hand to press down into the glutes. Take a big inhale as you work to lengthen through the spine. Exhale as you work to lean back. Draw the elbows in towards the midline. Continue to energetically press the hips forward towards the short edge of the mat, opening up your throat chakra. Continue to breathe. You can stay here, or should you wish, slowly bring the right hand to the arch of the right foot, the left hand to the arch of the left foot. Big inhale as you press forward through the hips. Stay open through the heart, the chest, releasing the weight of the head. If you cannot reach your feet, you can utilize your blocks. Place them inside of the heels. Take a big inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale as you descend into your back bend, heart and lungs open. Dismount the way you came in. Bring your hands to the low back. Inhale as you slowly rise up to a neutral spine. Place the blocks off to the side. We'll come in for our final progression of this posture. Big inhale, lengthen through the spine, find extension. Exhale, allow the hips to fall back this time as you lower the hands to the mat behind the feet. Fingers can point towards the front or the back of the mat. Softly allow the hips to sink. Allow the weight of the head to fall. Stretching out the quads. Before you dismount, visualize your exit strategy. Slowly begin to press the hips forward. Bring the hands to the low back. Inhale as you rise. Exhale, take a quick counter pose in child. Sink the hips back onto the heels. Stretch the arms out in front of you. Forehead reaching down towards the mat. Squat position. Toes out, heels in. Sink the hips in between the heels. Wiggle the elbows inside of the shins. Start by using the elbows to open up the hips. Take a big inhale, lengthen through the spine as you find extension. Exhale, slowly begin to round and fold, maybe extending the hands out in front of you. Perhaps releasing the weight of the head. Spine is in flexion. Inhale, slowly begin to rise back up to a neutral spine. Exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. You can use blocks to assist this posture by placing one block underneath of the hips and then placing one block underneath of the forehead. We'll take this sequence again, rounding in, reaching the arms out in front of you. Inhale, slowly rise, back up to a neutral spine. Exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Dangling forward fold. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, lead with the heart. Swan dive. Put a generous bend into the knees. Allow the weight of the head to hang heavy. Take a moment to shake the head, yes. Shake it, no. Release any tension in the neck and the shoulders. Hands can remain on the mat, or you can grab for opposite elbows. Deepen the knees, the bend in the knees even more. Releasing the low back. Spine is in flexion. Gently release the bind as slow as you can. Inhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, begin to rise all the way up to standing. Shoulders, neck, and head last to lift. Exhale, palms face forward, Tadasana. . Dragon variations. Starting in all fours, tabletop pose. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees hip distance apart. Actively press the ground away. Puff up the space in between the shoulder blades. Step or help the right foot in between the hands, creating 2 90-degree bends in your knees. One by one, walk the hands up onto the right thigh. Use this to stabilize. Big inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twist so that you can drape your torso over the right thigh. Softly lowering down. One by one, bring the hands to the top of the right foot. Palms face up towards the ceiling. Release the weight of the head. Dismount the way you came in. Bring both hands on top of the thigh. Inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale, bring both hands inside of the right foot. Pause here. You can stay like this. Should you wish, you can extend the left leg back. Once again, you can stay here or softly lower down onto the forearms. Perhaps allow the right knee to splay out to the side, opening up through the hip, releasing the weight of the head, deepening the breath. Visualize your exit strategy. One by one, press into the palms. Wiggle the right leg back in. Hands surround the right foot. Right knee draws back to meet the left. Come back through your table pose. Shake it out from side to side. Preparing for the left. Come back through to center. Actively press the ground away. Step or help the left foot up in between the hands, creating 2 90-degree bends in the knees. One at a time, walk the hands on top of the left thigh. Use this to stabilize. Big inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twist the torso so you can begin to drape it over the left thigh. One at a time, bring the hands down to the left foot. Palms face up towards the ceiling. Release the weight of the head. Feel all of your fast twitch muscles at work. Dismount the way that you came in. One by one, bring the hands to the left thigh. Inhale as you rise. Exhale, place both hands inside of the left foot. You can stay here, or should you wish, begin to extend the right leg back behind you. Hip, knee, and ankle all in one straight line. You can stay here, or lower down onto the forearms. Perhaps the left knee splays out to the side. Release the weight of the head. Opening up the hips, deepening the breath. Visualize your exit strategy. One by one, press into the palms. Hands come to surround the left foot. Press the ground away. Left knee draws back to meet the right as you come through your tabletop pose. Find some intuitive movement. Deer, swan, and sleeping swan. Start seated. Draw the feet in to meet the sits bones. Hands to the front of the shins. Take a big inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale, lower both knees over to the right. Bring the right shin parallel with the short edge of the mat. You decide how far back you would like that left knee. Both sets of toes stay active. Dorsiflexion. Take a big inhale as you work to lengthen. Exhale, you can stay here, begin to lower onto the forearms. Release the weight of the head. One by one, bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Begin to extend the left leg back behind you as you square off the hips. Left hip, knee, and ankle all in one straight line. Come back through to center. Perhaps tent up onto the fingertips. Big inhale, open through the heart, the chest. Take a few breaths in your swan. Opening up the left hip flexors. One more big inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale, lower down onto the forearms to come into sleeping swan. You can remain on the forearms or continue to extend the arms out in front of you, releasing the forehead down towards the mat. Roll onto the outer edge of the right hip. Begin to extend the left leg out in front of you. Extend the right leg out to meet the left. Popcorn through the knees. Draw both feet in by the sits bones, hands to the front of the shins. Big inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale, allow both knees to drop over to the left. Bring the left shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. You decide how far back you'd like that right leg. Dorsiflex both sets of toes in towards the torso. Take a big inhale as you lengthen through the spine. You can stay here. Exhale, begin to fold forward, lowering down onto the forearms, releasing the weight of the head. One by one, bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Begin to extend the right leg back behind you as you square off the hips. Right hip, knee, and ankle all in one straight line. Tent up onto the fingertips. Big inhale, open through the heart, the chest. Take a few breaths in your swan. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Find that balance between effort and ease. Give it one more big inhale. Exhale, lower down onto the forearms, sleeping swan. If you'd prefer, you can continue to extend the arms out in front of you, releasing the forehead down towards the mat. Rolling to the outer edge of the left hip. Extend the right leg out to the front of the mat. Extend the left leg out to meet it. Popcorn through the knees, release. Saddle. Begin to bring the heels outside of the hips, toes pointing towards the back of the mat. Working to lengthen through the spine. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. If this is uncomfortable or causes any pain in the knee, you can explore placing 1 or 2 blocks underneath the seat, working to elevate the hips. Explore taking a few deep breaths. Removing the block. If you are able to find the position without the block assist, you can work a recline, bringing the hands to the feet, slowly using the hands and the forearms to lower yourself down onto the back. Coming in for a quad stretch. Visualize your exit strategy. And then slowly use your arms to assist. Inhaling as you work to lift back into your saddle pose. You can also use blocks to assist this recline, bringing the blocks behind the hips. In the middle of the back, take a big inhale. Exhale, softly lower yourself down onto the blocks. Coming in for our heart opener. Finding a back bend. Heart and lungs open, releasing the weight of the head down towards the mat. Once again, visualize your exit strategy. Use your hands and forearms to help assist. Big inhale as you lift back up to a neutral spine. Exhale, gently release the feet one at a time. Popcorn through the knees. Caterpillar. Bring your hands by your side. Inhale as you open through the heart, the chest. Exhale, inch the fingertips forward as you lead with the heart, coming down into your fold, allowing yourself to round in, nose towards the knee. No pulling, no tugging, just seeing where you land. Spine is in flexion. See what you can soften. Inhale, slowly rise back up to a neutral spine. Exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. You can use a blanket and a block to assist here, bringing the blanket to elevate the hips, bringing a block to place in between the thighs for the forehead. Bring the hands to the sides. Take a big inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale, inch the fingertips forward as you softly lower down, forehead to the block. See what you can soften, releasing any tension. Inhale, slowly begin to rise, back up to a neutral spine. Exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Straddle. Step the feet in by the seat. Bring the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Start to explore bringing the arms inside of the thighs. Take a big inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale as you round in and begin to play with straightening the legs slowly out as you come into a wide-legged fold. Straight legs or bent knees are completely acceptable. If you prefer, you can lower down onto the forearms, release the weight of the head. Perhaps putting a slight bend into the knees. Inhale as you slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll all the way back up to neutral spine. Exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Butterfly and half butterfly. Start with the feet in close to the seat. Start to draw the soles of the feet to touch. Slowly allow the knees to splay out to the side. Hands can come to the ankle or the inside of the feet to open them up like pages of a book. Take a big inhale as you work to lengthen with the spine. Exhale, lead with the heart as you come down into your fold. You can play with the distance of the feet, closer or farther away from the body. Release the weight of the head. Find a balance between effort and ease. Inhale, slowly begin to rise. Shoulders, neck, head last to lift. Exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. From here, keep the right knee bent in as you extend the left leg out to the side, exploring our half butterfly. Inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale, lead with the heart as you come into a fold, perhaps lowering down onto the forearms or reaching the arms out in front of you, relaxing the forehead down towards the mat. Inhale, slowly begin to rise. Exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Draw the left foot in to meet the right. Popcorn the knees. Changing sides, extend the right leg out to the side. Left leg remains in close. Big inhale, open through the heart, the chest. Exhale, lead with the heart as you come into your degree of a fold. Forearms, or reaching the hands out further. Relaxing the forehead down towards the mat. Inhale, slowly begin to rise. Exhale, soften the shoulders as you draw the right foot in to meet the left. Popcorn through the knees. Maybe give the seat a little wiggle. Shoelace, half and full. Start with the feet extended out in front of you. Begin to draw the right knee into the right hand, right foot into the left hand. Take a moment to cradle the hip, lubricating the ball and socket joint. Softly bring the right knee to cross over top the left. Right heel is outside of the left thigh. Take a big inhale, lengthen through the spine. You can stay here. Exhale, begin to bend the left knee. Bring the left heel outside of the right thigh. Bring both hands to the feet. Perhaps press forward to work to stack the knees. Inhale as you lengthen through the spine. Exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Once again, you can stay here. Inhale, extend the right arm up, bicep by the ear. Exhale, bend the elbow, pat yourself on the back. Inhale, left arm wraps around the back. Exhale to grab your t-shirt, a bra, or perhaps the right fingertips, wherever you can reach. Inhale, open through the heart, the chest. Stay here. Exhale, begin to explore your fold. Lead with the heart, nose towards the knees. If the bind of the arms gets to be too much, you can simply release and extend the arms out in front of you. Inhale, slowly begin to rise, back up to a neutral spine. Exhale as you unwind the legs, extend them out in front of you, popcorn through the knees. Preparing to change sides. The left hand grabs the left knee, the right hand grabs the left foot. Take a moment to cradle out the hip, lubricating that ball and socket joint. Begin to stack the left knee over top of the right, left heel outside of the right thigh. Big inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, stay here or bend the right knee. Bring the right heel outside of the left thigh. Maybe bring the hands to the arches of the feet, pressing forward. Work to stack the knees. Lower the seat back down. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, soften in. You can stay here. Inhale to bring the left arm, bicep by the ear. Exhale, bend the elbow, pat yourself on the back. Inhale, right arm wraps behind the back. Exhale, clasp, finger, bra, perhaps the left fingertips. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, option to fold. Lead with the heart. Lower, nose towards knee. Continue to breathe. The bind of the arms gets to be too much. You can simply extend them out in front of you. Inhale, slowly begin to rise. Shoulders, neck, and head, last to lift. Exhale, unwind the legs as you extend them out in front of you. Popcorn through the knees. Fire log. Begin to bring the left shin parallel to the edge of the mat. Work to stack the right ankle over top the left knee, right knee over top the left ankle. If you have space in between the two, perhaps grab for a block, place it in between, utilizing it as an assist. Big inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, option to fold. Lead with the heart. Release the weight of the head. Inhale, slowly rise, back up to a neutral spine. Exhale, gently release the block. Exit, moving intuitively, preparing to change sides. This time, bringing the right shin down. Work to stack left ankle over top right knee, left knee over top right foot. Once again, if there's a space, you can use a block. Finding an assist. Big inhale, open through the heart, the chest. Exhale, option to fold. Lead with the heart. Release the weight of the head. Softening in. Inhale, slowly rise back up to a neutral spine. Exhale, gently release the block. Unwind, popcorn through the knees. Sphinx and seal. Start prone, lying on the belly. One by one, prop yourself up onto the forearms, elbows underneath the shoulders. Take a big inhale, open through the heart, the chest. Exhale, softly release the weight of the head, but keep the integrity in the shoulders and the upper body. If you wish, you can grab for a block and place the block underneath the forehead. Continue to press the ground away. Inhale, slowly rise up to a neutral spine. Exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale as you rise up onto the fingers, straightening the elbows, finding your seal, lengthening through the spine, continuing to breathe. Dismount the way you came in, lower down onto the forearms, place the block to the side, lower all the way down onto the belly, allow the opposite cheek to fall down towards the mat. Frog. Starting in hands and knees, tabletop pose. Actively press the ground away. Remain active in the upper body as you slowly take the knees out to the side, ensuring that the ankles remain outside of the knees, the toes outside of the ankles, continuing to energetically press the hips back. You can stay upright on the palms, or one by one, lower down onto the forearms. Use the forearms as traction and resistance to keep energetically pressing the hips back. From the forearms, you can continue to extend the arms out in front of you, releasing the weight of the head. Visualize your exit strategy. One by one, place the hands back underneath the shoulders. Inhale as you rise up. Exhale, bring the legs back together, moving as you need. Wag out the hips. Cat pulling its tail. Starting on the backs, hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a huge squeeze. Keep the right knee hugged into the chest as you extend the left leg out long on the mat. Take a moment in this hip flexor stretch. Bring your arm out to a strong T position, scapula rooted on the mat. Left hand grabs for the outer edge of the right knee. Take a big inhale. Exhale as you draw the right knee across the left side of the body, lowering it down towards the mat. If your neck allows, take your drishti or gaze over your right shoulder. You can stay here, or you can bend the left knee. The right hand reaches for the top of the left foot, using it as leverage to deepen into your twist, energetically rooting both shoulder blades, both scapula down onto the mat. Inhale, softly unwind, neutralize the spine. Exhale as you hug the knees into the chest, big squeeze. Keep the left knee hugged into the chest as you extend the right leg out long on the mat. Take a moment here in this hip flexor stretch. Bring the left arm out to a strong T position, shoulder, elbow, hand, all in one straight line. Right hand grabs through the outer edge of the left knee. Take a big inhale. Exhale as you draw the left knee across the right side of the body. Left shoulder blade remains rooted on the mat. If it's okay with the neck, take your drishti or gaze over the left shoulder. You can stay here or start to put a bend into the right knee. Left hand reaches for the top of the right foot. Use it as leverage to deepen the twist. Breathing over the shoulder. Inhale, start to unwind, neutralize the spine. Exhale, hug the knees into the chest. Lift the forehead up to meet the knees. Decompress the neck. Soften the shoulders down. Release the weight of the head. Reclining twist. Starting with the knees hugged into the chest. Bring both arms out to a strong T. Take an inhale with the knees stacked over the hips. Exhale, slowly lower the knees over towards the right. If it's okay with the neck, begin to take your drishti, your gaze, over your left shoulder. Continue to energetically root both scapula, both shoulder blades down onto the mat, allowing gravity to assist. Inhale as you come back through to center. Pause in the middle, knees stacked over hips, regain symmetry. Exhale, slowly lower the knees over to the left. If it's okay with the neck, you'll begin to rotate. Take your drishti, your gaze, over your right shoulder. Keep energetically rooting both shoulder blades, both scapula down into the mat. Twisting from the tail. Inhale, softly come back through to center. Stack the knees over top the hips, neutralize the spine. Exhale, hug the knees into the chest, big squeeze. Supine lateral bends. Starting in a supine position on the back. Inhale as you reach the arms up overhead, point down through to the toes. Exhale, side bend over to the right. Bring both feet over to the right corner, perhaps crossing the left ankle over top the right to provide an anchor. Bring both hands over to the right corner of the mat, perhaps seeing if you can take your gaze up and underneath the left armpit. If you'd like a little bit more, maybe bend the elbows. Grab for opposite elbows with the hands, readjusting as you need. Working to create space in the left side waist. Drawing the rib cage away from the pelvis. Working to expand that space in between the ribs, that intercostal cartilage. Now that you've been here for a moment, see if you can find that extra ½ inch of length. And as a result, perhaps an extra ½ inch of depth. Check in with the integrity of the breath. Inhale, softly unwind. Come back through to center. Exhale to soften in. Changing sides, inhale, active reach, arms up overhead. Exhale, side bend over to the left. Bring both feet and both sets of hands over towards the left corner, perhaps crossing the right ankle over top the left to provide an anchor. If it's okay with the neck, perhaps taking your gaze up and underneath the right armpit. If you'd like to intensify this stretch, bend the elbows, hands grab for opposite elbows, maintaining a neutral pelvis, i.e. a flat sacrum. Both shoulder blades energetically rooted on the mat, working to create space in the right side waist, drawing the rib cage away from the pelvis. Working to expand that space in between the ribs, the intercostal cartilage. Now that you've been here for a moment, see if you can find that extra ½ inch of length. And as a result, perhaps an extra ½ inch of depth. Check in with the integrity of the breath. Inhale, slowly make your way back through to center. Regain symmetry. Exhale, hug the knees into the chest, big squeeze. Happy baby. Grab for the in or outsides of the feet. Work to rock a little side to side as you massage your low lumbar spine. Drawing the knees down towards the mat, using your strong arms to open up the hips. Maintain a neutral pelvis. Both shoulder blades energetically rooting down towards the mat. If you wish, you can play with straightening the legs. Explore how this changes the pose. Find a comfortable position and breathe. Settle into the stillness. Snail. Coming in for your candlestick pose. Extend the feet up towards the ceiling. Flex the toes in towards the face. Ankles over top knees, knees over top hips. You can stay here. We're coming in for a supported shoulder stand, where the low back is supported by both hands. Ankles stacked over knees, knees over hips, hips over shoulders. Slowly begin to lower the toenails to meet the mat behind the head. Once you arrive, put a bend into the knees. Allow them to drop down onto the forehead. Soften. Slowly begin to uncurl, begin to unfurl, lowering vertebrae by vertebrae down onto the mat, softly making contact. Release. Corpse pose. Right foot extends to the right corner. Left foot extends to the left corner. Arms can fall comfortably beside you, palms faced up towards the ceiling. Alternatively, you can bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the low belly. Close the eyes. Allow the full weight of the body to sink down into the mat. Allow yourself to drift away. Find that glorious space between sleep and meditation. Take rest.